Change your mindset, change your life. The expert is in the house, Mr. Garrain Jones. Welcome to the show.
I'm so glad you guys have a voice. I mean, you guys have a platform for even a voice like mine.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Garrain, it's a guarantee, he says.
Okay,
I love that.
Okay,
Garrain.
look, for anybody that, guarantee, take off the T, that's my
I
name.
love it. It's so
There it
good.
is.
So,
It is.
you have an incredible story, and we want to hear it. So, tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming a transformational coach.
How much time I got? First and foremost, I could be here all day. 6.5, and just like really brief, 6.5 years ago, I was living in my car for 2.5 years, over $200,000 in debt. My daughter pretty much disowned me. My girlfriend had just broken up with me because I couldn't get my life together. My mom was dying in the hospital, and I was, you ever ask, can it get any worse? I kept asking that, and it kept getting worse. But it got to the point where I didn't care whether I live or I died, and I literally wanted to kill myself. And, it was one of those days where I was just like, ah! And I just started yelling. And I was in the corner of La Brea in Hollywood with my window busted out, and it was raining. It was 3:43 in the morning, August. I caused my moment of awakening, and I just said, I don't want to fight anymore. I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I want to be surrounded by nothing but positive people. I just want to inspire people. And I want to make a bunch of money, but I want the money to represent something that I passionately believe in, that I would do for free. Just show me a sign. Show me a sign. A week later, I'm at the gas station with my last $2, and a homeless guy walks up to me asking me for money. I said, you have more money than me. And he said, change your mindset, change your life.
Oh.
He says this.
I never had a set of words, because when we have our childhood programming, and we're habitual creatures by nature, and we carry that out to our grave. Those words literally gave me a conscious interrupt. It stopped every thought I ever had in my tracks. I'm like, change your mindset, change your life. So if my mind is set on something, then that's why the result is what it is. So if I do different with the same circumstance, then my life will change. It's been almost 7 years, and every single day I don't want to do something. I don't feel like working out. I don't want to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I don't want to do this. In areas where I wasn't happy, I simply did the opposite. And I just kept doing it, and I kept doing it, and I kept doing it, and I built the momentum of surrendering. And inside of that surrender came a life that I always wanted, but I never would have.
So,
I never would have known.
what was the first thing that came to fruition when you changed your mindset? What was the first thing that you manifested?
Okay, so first off, this may sound crazy, but
Try
that's
me.
how life works. I saw a set of stairs. I'm too lazy to take the stairs. So the little angel on my shoulder, change your mindset, change your life. I mean, I'm too lazy to take the stairs. I would always take the escalators. So I would just do that. Books. I would never read a book. I read my first it was called The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. But I read my very first book, when I was 27 years old, without cheating my way through high school. Books, seminars, wearing suits, cutting my hair, actually listening to people, pride and ego, all of that was like roadblocks in my way, but I simply did the opposite. And because I'd already built up a pattern of doing the opposite, it was easy to let go of my pride, easy to let go of my ego. So, the things that I manifested was business, entrepreneurship, being surrounded by people that didn't have the same broke mindset as me, because even like attracts like. And so when I said yes to the seminar, I'm now around all of these people who are up to something in the world. And just by culture, being around those people, they were speaking language just talking about things in the world that I'd never been exposed to growing up.
So important. So that moment for you on La Brea, you said?
La Brea and Hollywood.
La Brea. Okay, so I truly believe that we command. We can do such a conviction, we call it spoken word, whatever, where you command with such strong conviction, with such emotion, that it literally reprograms the subconscious mind and literally sends it out to the universe, and it has to be reflected back.
Absolutely.
How do you teach that to somebody you work with?
You know what? It was very interesting. I feel like I've learned everything backwards, because before I went and took all the seminars, before I went and read all the books, it was like I had this thing called the School of Life, where I just kept learning, not learning, but learning at the same time. I didn't know, I wasn't aware. So I was simply documenting my journey the entire, like if you go on Facebook right now, you'll see me crying because I was sleeping in abandoned buildings, sleeping in my storage unit, sleeping on bubble wrap, crying and saying, God, this can't be it, this can't be life. But I documented I don't know why, the entire time. I didn't know that my vulnerability of sharing my own personal testimony would garner hundreds of thousands of people to be like, you're changing my life. I was going to kill myself until I heard your story.
Wow.
So by way of personal example and me just being that mouth, the voice of the voiceless on every platform, it doesn't matter, anywhere where there's people, you'll find Garrain. And so just by me being the example of what's possible, it automatically drops the guard of so many people who would not be open to anyone else because they don't have a relatability. Just that relatability piece, by me sharing different, this is what I did, this is what I let go, this is what I learned, and this is the result. They're like, wow. Because 75% of communication is nonverbal, and people learn through example.
Well, this is the hero's journey. This is a superhero's journey. This is everything, right?
I'm a superhero, by the way.
That's right. So tell us about how that is. I mean, your story is profound, and yet, as we know, we hear these transformational stories, and there's a common thread through all of them,
Yeah.
right? So what is that common thread, do you think?
The common thread is perseverance. Like me, I've always wanted to be a superhero. By the way, I am. I'm stronger than the average man. I have abs like an action figure, and I save people's lives all over the world, but I've been saying that since I was 4. And then when you see, you know, I've interviewed lots of people who, the major influencers, I call them power influencers, and they have very similar stories. On the surface, it's different. Like, you didn't have to live in your car for 2.5 years to be in a relationship where you felt trapped for 2.5 years. It's all the same, you know. But there's perseverance and there's the willingness to get back up, have that grit, keep going no matter what. Yeah.
So profound, man. Like, I love your story. So the question I have is that, so we have this expression that everybody's an optimist the first 4 hours of a diet, right? So it's like once you're 2-3 weeks in and you're trying to believe something, you're trying to persevere through something, and you're not seeing your life change, it's a real gut check, because it's like, do I actually believe that it's going to change? Can I continue to kind of maintain that faith? How do you do that? How do you persevere when you don't see things changing at all, or as quickly as you'd like to see them change?
Because you can't see the picture. You can't see the picture while you're in the frame. So exactly.
Right.
The thing about it was, when I got around people, this all had to do with environment, who were up to something in the world. Like Michael Jordan couldn't have won those championships by himself. He had a coach. There's people around him. When I was never exposed to that kind of environment. Like, my father was murdered when I was 12 years old, and I had to experience that myself in person. So that's the kind of life that shaped and cultivated me. So I didn't know anything outside of the hood. But when I was around people who were like light bearers and world changers, and who actually was like, they weren't just saying, I want to change the planet. I'm changing the planet. This is what I'm doing. This is the result. This is the book that I'm reading. These are the seminars that I took. So just being around that environment, it was like a form of language. And I'll tell you really quick, the greatest way to learn, if you want to learn French, is not at Coffee Bean doing Rosetta Stone. Go to France, eat a baguette, be around the French people, be around the culture. So when I was in that culture, by default, I just started shifting and compressing time frames.
It's contagious. Faith is contagious.
So well said.
Yeah.
So well. So who are your mentors? You went through this transformation.
Yeah.
The homeless guy comes up, says, change your mind, change your life. What do you do? Where did you go? Who were your actual mentors? You went to Landmark and some different seminars.
Yeah. So I mean, I did. I went all the way through Landmark. I went all the way through Insight. Just got involved with the health and fitness community. All they were talking about was you can be a better version of yourself. Read this book. I read The Power of Positive Thinking over 275 times, literally, from the paperback and the audiobook. So I just kept learning. And the thing about it is, and this is what I really want people to get, they think that they have to ask a mentor a question to get the thing. But success leaves clues. And so I was just observing. I've got like 20 mentors. I never even spoke to them before, but I see the way they shake hands. I see the way they walk. I see the way people respond to them. And I'm just like, well, I don't do that. I have an attitude. They don't have an attitude. This person cut them off in the road. And they were just like, wow, I wish I had that passionate person on my team. So I just really start looking at people's behaviors, and I look at the life, and I'm like, wow, you do this. I want this. You do this in a certain way, and I don't. So guess what I'm going to do? Humble myself. I'm going to be the student to what you're clearly showing the planet. So there's many people. There's like Tony Robbins, Eric Thomas. None of them know. They have no idea who I am yet. But all of anybody that's doing something and with passion, resilience, and desire, they're all my mentors. I didn't have a relationship with my daughter for 15 years, and now we're madly in love with each other. By the way, I'm 39. But now we're madly in love with each other. My mentors were all the moms that I never chose to acknowledge and see that was right in front of my face, who have incredible relationships, and the fathers who have incredible relationships with their children. I was like, oh, this is my study right here. This is my school right here. And I never thought to ask. And really quick, I couldn't seem to crack that code with me and my daughter. And so I asked women, I'm like, well, what do women want? They're like, we want to be heard, acknowledged, we want to feel safe and protected. I was like, I've never done that in my life. I gave that to my daughter. I gave that to my daughter, and I went from this person that was sappy, hope she'll see that I changed, to I am the most powerful representation of who she will marry one day. And from that place, she was falling asleep on my shoulder last night while we were watching movies. We were doing Snapchats.
That's beautiful.
We were going, boop, 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 boop. And I'm that guy.
How does it feel to be that guy?
I used to think that having all the cars, the luxury cars, having all the women, having all the money, the houses, all that stuff. I got all that stuff, and I was like, something is missing. That ain't it, because I seen a bunch of rich people put a bullet into their brain because they had everything but what was inside of their heart. And now finally, just having that relationship with my daughter, she's given me a whole new perspective on women. Like, I never even knew that. Because I always saw women through my dad's eyes. But now the standard that she holds me to is, I'm like, holy crap, wow, it's like a whole new set of goggles. But that feeling that I was here to teach her something, and she was here to teach me something, is one of by far the greatest successes I've ever had in my entire life.
Well, Garrain, you have the most charisma. You have the it factor. You have that thing that people wish they could put in a bottle and purchase. So I just want to say, keep doing whatever the hell you're doing, because it's working for you, for sure. And we are blessed to have you today. And thank you so much for your incredibly inspirational story. Wonderful.
Absolutely.
And thank you guys so much for having the heart to create a space for voices like mine, because a lot of people, they're afraid to share their real story.
Yeah.
And their real story is where the real gold and the real success is.
Right.
Thank you for having me on.
How can people work with you? How can they find you?
You can find me on my website, GarrainJones.com, Garrain, Jones.com, Instagram, Garrain.Jones, Facebook, and my book is coming out.
Woo!
It's called Change Your Mindset, Change Your Life.
Wow,
There you
how do you
go.
find a homeless man on La Brea
I
and give
have
him a
been
copy
looking.
of that book?
I went back to that place, but I honestly feel like that was an angel
Yeah.
to stop me in my tracks so that I could be calm and see everything that I was looking for had been inside of me this entire time. But my book, Change Your Mindset, Change Your Life, is all the principles, and it's all about unblocking, unreleasing, finding out why you don't have money in your life, finding out why you don't have love in your life, finding out why you have money but you can't relate to your family. It's everything that I've learned inside of this book, and I guarantee you it will bring value to this entire planet.
Guarantee.
Guaranteed.
Thank you. You are absolute gold. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more. And good morning, LaLa.